My name is Rob, and this is Songbirding, a bonus episode. This is a kind of impromptu experiment. I was supposed to lead OFO, the Ontario Field Ornithologists field event this June. However, all the field events are postponed due to health and safety reasons. So I thought I'd make a couple virtual tours of locations people could visit on their own time, safely on their own. Each location is generally not very heavily populated. In fact, this one I'm here at today, the Beverly Swamp Conservation Area, I've seen hold 2 other people in the last hour. For regular listeners of the Songbirding podcast, this will be a bit different, a little quicker pace, and more discussion on particular locations within a site that I'm visiting. That may or may not be of interest to you, but just a heads up on that. And for those who are new to this podcast, normally this is actually more generalized in terms of habitats and specific bird songs and bird behaviors. It's not as focused on a particular location because there are quite a few listeners from outside southern Ontario. So this is something I'm experimenting with because I am currently the just soon outgoing field events director with the Hamilton Naturalist Club, and we're trying to figure out what to do for future field events, and this is one particular idea I had to begin to give virtual tours so that people could go on their own time to check places out. So without any further discussion, I'm going to move on to talk a bit about Beverly Swamp Conservation Area in Flamborough, Ontario, just north of Hamilton, Ontario. So I'm at Beverly Swamp Conservation Area. This is 1535 Safari Road. It's a very well hidden parking lot. And in fact, in the parking lot I'm hearing blue-winged warbler right now. So that's one songbird species that breeds here. And just a heads up that this is one of a couple different entrances for Beverly Swamp Conservation Area. It is huge. It covers a couple concessions. So just as a word of warning, Beverly Swamp Conservation Area is one of the few conservation areas that do allow hunting during open season. If you're here on a Sunday, though, in Hamilton it's illegal to hunt with a shotgun on Sundays. So Sundays are a quieter day if it's an open season. I don't personally know when the seasons are, so you would have to look that up. Or if there's no one in the parking lot, there's probably no hunters. Like most places that do allow hunting, though, there are quite a few trails, and none of them have any real markers to them. Some may abruptly dead end, so just be aware that there's not going to be any obvious trail markers, so be aware where you're going. The conservation area itself is huge, so you can spend an awful lot of time here, and there's another section of it, one concession north of here, that is in the middle of the swamp, more or less. So that one is way more buggy. This one's going to have a fair bit of bugs too, probably. So as you might be able to hear there is ovenbirds here. That's another warbler species here. There is black and white warbler here, at least I have found in previous years. I'm going to see if I can find some today. There's usually a lot of towhees in here, sometimes brown thrasher. Broad-winged hawk is known to breed here, and it is a great place to come and look for lepsin odes, butterflies, damselflies, dragonflies, that kind of stuff. Right now I'm looking at a northern crescent or a pearl crescent, could be one or the other. Either case, it's a crescent butterfly I'm looking at just as I'm talking here. Alright, we're coming up on a couple ovenbirds. There's the teacher, teacher, teacher song. This is on what you could call the main trail that you would enter in from the parking lot if you followed it straight. This is where I'm encountering them. Right now it's late May. There's a small possibility these are migrants, but I believe they are on territory because they are normally here during the summer. I'm coming across several blue butterflies here. Just on the trail, almost at the hydro corridor. It's the right kind of season for these. I think spring azure might be the species. So about a half kilometer in from the parking lot, there is a pipeline corridor clearing, and this is where maybe not late May like I am right now, but later in the year when the grass grows, there might be an awful lot of butterfly species in here. They've recently done clearing in here within the last couple of years, so fairly open space, wide, and these kinds of corridors like this is good edge habitat for butterflies, dragonflies, damselflies, and of course lots of birds. I'm now headed north of the pipeline corridor on one of the trails. And I've got the ovenbird here, I've got blue-winged warbler here, and I was hearing pine warbler briefly. Here is our blue-winged warbler doing its bee buzz song. And an ovenbird too. It's a loud ovenbird. As you can hear, there's also tree frog here. I'm heading further north. There we go, the northern water thrush. There are quite a few of them. There are quite a few of them in Beverly Swamp as a whole. If you go to the north section, on the next concession north, there are quite a few in there. They're a staple of the Beverly Swamp. So if you happen to not get the northern water thrush right here, the parking area for the north end of Beverly Swamp, sometimes you can hear it right from the road. Especially early in the season, but late in the year you may just have to be there early or be very patient to catch the song. And that entrance is right at there's a bridge, very small bridge, more of a culvert than anything, over a small creek and a little pullover there, and I think it's a big orange sign as well. So if you follow those trails north of the pipeline, you should probably come out to a clearing. Again, another pipeline. This one's much narrower, has just kind of a main trail going through, cutting across. You can tell from the tree line that long ago this was trimmed back quite a bit. Once you reach this spot, depends on the water level. You may be able to keep continuing north a little bit, you may not. There's a hydro corridor adjacent to this. It goes through a fairly wet area. There are trails into it, but you may need rubber boots to get through, depending on the water levels. And of course, this species, the red-eyed vireo, will probably be a background sound. This vireo song, very short. This you may hear quite a bit of in the locations around Hamilton that have a fair bit of tree canopy. Here we go. We got an alder flycatcher. That's that free beer type song. This furthest north clearing also has a fair bit of open rock, which is where you might find some snake species sunning themselves on. And you may find more butterflies in this corridor as well. Now that I'm in the hydro corridor, approaching an unfortunately large mass of Phragmites, there is some common yellow throats in here, and red-winged blackbirds. You might also hear swamp sparrow, yellow warbler. There's the common yellow throat. And you may find some blue iris lilies in the water here. Lately, these hydrocorridors have had some common ravens come through, so that's another thing to keep an eye open for. This is the Wichita song. Or Wichity, however you like to pronounce that. There's a northern flicker, what I would expect to be this is what you can expect to be a fairly common species in this area. Another species you may encounter here is a veery, which makes that veer call. Now it's possible when you're here, instead of vocalizing the veer call, it may make its song, so you may want to look up the song for this species. It's quite something. It's very thrush-like. Lots of dissonant tones and quickly changing notes. One of the benefits to coming out to this particular location is there's not as much urban background noise. Very clear, and depending on the amount of birdsong and how deep into the forest you are, you might not hear much anthropogenic noise outside of the occasional plane flyover and cars driving by, depending on how deep you are into the conservation area. So I'm just back to the entrance now. Got a field sparrow here, a Baltimore oriole here that weren't here when I got here. And so that's Beverly Swamp. If you want more information about the Hamilton Conservation Authority, you can look up their website, just Google them. They're the ones that own this property and manage it. My name is Rob. I'm creator, host, etc. for the Songbirding podcast. You can learn more at songbirding.com. You can connect with me by emailing songbirdingpod@gmail.com. Hope you've enjoyed it and stay safe.